Welcome back, everybody. We have another presentation ready for you, and it's live from Gothenburg. We have Heliospectra and their CEO, Ali Ahmedian, ready to present. So, Ali, the floor is yours.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to make a quick presentation about Heliospectra, the journey we've been through, and just explain a little bit of the company and what we're doing. Basically, Heliospectra, we are a global leader in innovative horticulture lighting. And basically, with the LED lighting, we kind of combine LED lighting with control and also different type of services, making sure that we can bring the best to our growers who are growing different type of crops, and with the motto of redefining nature's potential. A little bit about the company. The company started 14 years ago. We had done more than 1,400 light spectrum tests, light quality tests, and we have done more than 100 of in-house research projects. All the production and development are happening in Sweden. We have expertise in the plant science and horticulture lighting, and that is how it's differentiated us from all the other LED producers in the market. We have done commercial projects from 0.5 hectare to 10 hectare installation. We have an extensive patent portfolio. We have so far raised plus 50 million euro from private and public funds. We have offices here in Gothenburg, Sweden, US, Canada, UK, and Japan. And we are listed, obviously, Nasdaq First North. Just to tell you about the kind of a problem we're trying to solve here, this is actually a picture of a greenhouse on the top, and just beside it on the below side is actually a farmland. Today in the world, there are 500,000 hectares of greenhouses that are producing close to 700 million tons of fresh products that is actually around the world. From these 500,000 hectares of greenhouses, 400,000 hectares are actually approximately on the northern hemisphere, and the 40,000 hectares are the glass houses, which is actually glass houses like the one in the picture, are the ones that are prepared to use artificial lighting and the supplemental lighting for their existence. And that's a market we are very much involved, and we are very much pursue to just expand our footprint in there. On top of that 700 million, we see that their population is growing. So in 2050, we're going to have basically 9.7 billion people living in this earth, 70% increase on the food production, demand for food production. Another dynamic is urbanization is happening. So in 2050, we have close to 70% of the people living in the urban areas, the cities, and no longer we can actually afford to just produce crops in other places and ship them to the cities. There is a huge demand for sustainable solutions, and 70% of the consumer today, they're considering sustainability and environmental friendliness of the products and that they're buying, why they make a decision on purchase. And also another dynamic is that there is a big demand on the medical cannabis production, which is a business which is in the next 7 years is going to reach $80 billion market size. With all of this, there is a huge demand for having a production of basically having a solution for greenhouses and indoor growing facilities for kind of production of any type of crops. In quick, why light is important. So this is actually where we spent the 14 years of our research to just understand what are the light quantity, light quality, and also light duration for different type of crops, and also the very much importance of the spectrum of lights that is needed for having the most optimum crops. So we have actually done 1,400 different type of recipes, or what we call it light strategy, for having the best quality crop produced in under LED lighting. The spectrum of light is very much important. The amount of blue color that we have is going to make the whole vegetative stage very much important for vegetative stage. Green light or white is making the crop healthier. With red, we can just create a lot of biomass, and also with far, we can just actually control the morphology, how the crop would look like. What we do is actually, we are working on the tailor-made spectrum solutions for different type of crops, and this is a sub of solution. And not just we make the light, LED light, based on this tailor-made spectrum, but also we are able to control this spectrum. As you can see on the picture on the right side, there are different type of shape of the crop, but they're basically same seeds, same condition, only with a different type of a spectrum. We can just enhance the flavor, the morphology, and everything on the crop. We have, our market is actually into 4 different market segments. Commercial greenhouses, where you can grow tomatoes, cucumber, basil, you name it. Indoor grow facilities. In this is actually majority of that is actually our customers are in production of medical cannabis. Vertical farms, where you can just actually use the space very much efficiently and just work in a very, very tighter kind of shells to grow more crop per square meter. And which is the last but not least, which is actually our majority of market share, is in research and ag tech. These are actually 4 market segments that we're working. The value proposition of using Heliospectra solution is actually we can increase yield. So basically, based on the amount of light, electricity, nutrition you put onto the crop and crop production, we can increase up to 105%, for example, the production of tomato. This is what we reach actually in one of our customer facilities in Arizona. We can accelerate harvest. We make sure that by having the right spectrum of light and right quantity of light and the right time of the day, we can actually make sure that we can accelerate the harvest, means that the crop grow faster and in a better quality. We improve the quality. We can have actually quite a good control over flavor. We have a good control over the morphology, how the crop would shape, and all of those shelf life. And we can enhance the shelf life by just bringing the right spectrum of light at the right time of the day again to that crop. And last but not least, which is our unique value proposition, is our controlling consistency. Means that we can control the shape, size, color of the crop and the fruit, as well as we can control the consistency of the production based on the demand. So if there is a high demand in the market, let's say in June during midsummer in Sweden with production of dill, we can actually, with our control system and light, we can make sure that we can hit those demands in the market. So by this, we can reduce the amount of waste also into the whole process. Our solution is actually consists of 3 segments: LED lighting, which is actually here for greenhouses, and here for the like a schematic for the basic vertical farm. We have a product called HelioCore, which is actually a combination of sensor technology and light and a software that's actually control the light, and that we can actually make different type of light strategies, as well as we have another product called HelioCare, this individual who is actually helping the growers to kind of do the utmost out of their production facility. So in another simple term, LED light, we see it as like a car without a steering wheel. Our HelioCore system is actually act as a steering wheel, so you can control where you want to go. And with HelioCare, we teach you how to drive. So basically, this is also our product, LED grow lights, Mitra, Elixia, Sierra, and Dyna. We have crop control or HelioCore, where we can do forecast production, predict yield, maximize growth, and save money at the end of the day for the grower. And also we have different type of crop services under HelioCare, our basically service solution. Just a bit about HelioCore, our control system. So what we do with HelioCore is that since we have a knowledge about the spectrum that is a different crop need, and also the amount of light that every crop needs, for example, per day, we can actually with the software automatically make sure that the crop always receive the amount of light that they need. So basically there's a combination of sensor and a software, and we constantly monitor the amount of light that the crop is exposed to through, let's say, natural sun, and we compensate the rest with our light. By that, we don't make too much light, we don't make too little light, we just provide exact same amount that the crop need. And this is actually based on I would say the Swedish word lagom. We provide lagom amount of light constantly. So we save a lot of electricity by that, and we make sure that we have the healthiest crop. On top of that, HelioCore can measure the different prices of the electricity during the day and make sure that use electricity where the price of the electricity is the cheapest or the most optimal. And by that, we also further save a lot on our growers' basically production when it comes to electricity consumption and lighting. It has 3 different modules: DLI controller, which is actually control the total amount of light that is needed per day. On target controller, we make sure that the same amount of light that is crop need is constantly provided during the photo period. And also we can schedule based on the how much crop we're going to get and how much the crop we want to harvest and what type of quality we are looking after. This is a very simple example of basically the further saving by using the control system, using our HelioCore. This is actually based on one of our installation in Canada, close to Toronto. So by using HelioCore, by using the control system, so you're going to get the saving from the using LED, our lighting, but you're going to get a further saving when you control that light. So we can see the amount, which is around 35% even more average annual energy consumption reduction for our growers, which equate to around $250,000 a year for the growers. And this is how the payback going to work for them, and that's how it is attractive. You know, there are so many other LED companies that out there, they're just talking about, you know, bringing LED light to the horticulture. They mainly come from, you know, buildings or street lighting or different type of applications. The key to our success on our solution is actually our knowledge and our understanding about the spectrum and how crop and light interact with each other. We are very much of a crop-centric company, means that we are photobiologists, so we understand how light and crop interact with each other, and that is how we are actually working to our future kind of technologies as well, which I'm going to explain very shortly. Our next generation, we have a patent portfolio, which is actually what we do is that we are developing a sensor that constantly look at the crop, and this sensor actually kind of, in a way, we can talk to the crop and understand what crop need at any given moment. If the crop is under stress, we can just make sure that we have diagnosed the stress. We can make sure that we have the exact light intensity and also light quality by spectrum optimization. And by getting that fluorescent signal from the crop, we measure that. We constantly make sure that we bring the right amount of light and the light quality of light to the crop. This is actually under development. This is our basically patented technology. We are hoping that to just work with this within next year or next coming years, we can just have the minimum viable product out in the market and just start kind of materializing. This kind of revolutionized the whole horticulture industry because there is a demand to understand where the crop is standing from the health point of view and from the basic growth pathway of the crop. We have done recently, just in November, we did a right issuance with 125% subscription, which was very successful. Basically what we are going to do with this money is that basically 35% of that we're going to invest a lot in building a reseller network in Europe, because we saw a lot of demand out in North America. We would like to just bring it to our European customers as well. We're going to spend 40% of that in our development of the biosensor technology, which I just explained, our HelioCore and our lighting platform. And also the rest of the 25% going to kind of strengthen our cash flow. On top of that, we just also offered a warrants, which is actually going to be executed by in 2021 with the 32 million SEK. And that's 50% going to go to product development and the 50% going to go further to just invest on our reseller network. Our management team is a very diverse, very much experienced and a strong management team we have. That is actually, we are working together. We have people in Sweden. One of our management team members is located in the US, one is located in Canada, one in Japan. And we are all together. We would like to make sure that we kind of maintain our technology leadership and continue to grow the company forward. My last slide, this is actually a list of the owners by September 30th, 2020. As you can see, the 63% of our owners are the three main owners, Valand, Adama, and Midrock, that they own 63% of the company. And they're very committed ownership and been with the company for a long time, and we are pretty much very much appreciated the whole understanding of that the owner have about the technology and the way we are basically developing the company forward. So by this, I just want to kind of open the floor for any question that I will be able to answer.
Well, thanks very much, Ali. Great presentation, a very interesting development in the company. I'd like to just start by asking, since you have explained clearly that you are not just a lighting company, you have all this knowledge about automation, about plant science, and so on. And since there are also companies that just sell lamps, is there a difference between the customers that just want lamps and the customers that want the full automation, the full analytics that you primarily address?
That's a very good question. I would say that, those competitors that we have that are selling lamps, it is extremely important we understand what crop wants. Like we as humans, we're taking some sort of nutrition, crop taking another nutrition out of the water and the soil. So the light is exactly act as a nutrition. So the understanding about the photobiology, understanding about the nutrition that the crop wants is actually differentiate us, our lighting platform. But then on the customers that are looking for control and automation, if you look at today, only I think around 30% of the growers, they're using sensors and they're using basically data-driven decision-making in their processes. And the funny thing is, or the interesting thing is that 90% of those growers are the ones actually showing profitability. And those, what we see is that those growers that they don't use those sensor technology, they don't use actually the kind of data-driven decision-making processes. They are the ones that have a challenge with showing profitability. So in that sense, I believe that our solution is for any growers who just want to show a great, healthy bottom line in the future.
Mm-hmm. And you showed a little bit about the future developments of HelioCore and its self-learning capabilities. Have you implemented a full? Are you in the process of implementing a full machine learning or artificial intelligence process inside of that, or is that further down the line?
This is further down the line. No, so the way we are looking, our philosophy of development is very simple. We say that first we need to be able to control. Second, we need to automate. And then once we automate everything and be able to control everything, then we can gather the data and then we can work with machine learning. So definitely machine learning is something that we are looking at, and also eventually maybe AI. But at the stage that we are, we would like to kind of increase our basically installation. So we get a critical mass of data so we can actually analyze all of those big data analysis and make that happen. And then after that, we can see that how we would like to kind of put a strategy towards machine learning and so on. But that is definitely in our vision. We have it on our horizon, but we are just taking it one step at a time.
The world is in a pandemic and also in a recession, and a lot of sectors have been suffering in terms of economics. One of the sectors that have been doing quite well is in grocery stores and further up the value chain, food producers. So have you noticed that food growers have a better economic condition now? They have more money to spend on, for instance, investing in better lighting?
I would say that they are making definitely more money, but they're very much overwhelmed by kind of addressing the demand. So for example, this year, 2020, we actually we receive a lot of large orders from different customers. And most of them were announced from last year. Majority of those projects are parked for after COVID for two main reasons. One is that some of those growers are very much busy with development of busy with their day-to-day operation. So they just kind of park their expansion plans for the future. And the second reason would be like this whole traveling bans and the quarantines and all of those delay some of the projects going forward. So yes, you are right. I think the food segment is growing, and the supply of food, especially in the local food. But on the other hand as well, this whole thing actually put a lot of pressure on the operation of our customers, which we understand, and we are looking forward for having quite a strong rebound after the pandemic situation.
Well, we hope for that. Thanks very much for participating, Ali.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for arranging this.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And now we'll have a very short break. And the next company we'll hear from is Ledeye Bond International and its CEO, Rolf Sprunk Jensen.